Assalamu alaikum students, hope you all will be fine. Today we are going to start unit number 4 on page number 46. The name Other Living Things. What is it? Other living things. Students, many times we have heard the word living things. But what does this mean, other living things? Here you can see there are a few living things that are not animals or plants. It means that in this chapter, the living things that we will talk about will not include the humans or other animals and plants. So what they will be? They will be fungi, bacteria and protists. What they are? Fungi, bacteria and protists. Let's discuss them one by one. Fungi. For a long time, scientists classified fungi as plants. Because of some of their functionality, they considered that fungi also fall into the category of plants. But as the time passed by, they realize that and come to the conclusion that fungi does not belong to the kingdom of plantae, which means that fungi is not a plant. They belonged in a kingdom of their own. Because of the similarity on their functionality, we cannot say that fungi are plants. Here are some of the main differences that scientists studied. They come up with the three main basic differences among the plants and fungi. They saw that the plants have stem, the leaves and roots. But when they come to the study of fungi, they saw that fungi do not have stem, leaves and roots. Second one, some plants have flowers. We categorize plants in two categories, flowering plants and non-flowering plants. So it means that some plants have flowers, but fungi do not have flowers. In plants, we saw that plants are able to produce their own food. As we all know that plants produce their own food by the process named the photosynthesis. In photosynthesis, they grab carbon dioxide air from the air and oxygen and sunlight and make their own food. But fungi are not able to produce their own food. So these were the three main differences that were seen when they were studying the plants and fungi at one time. However, one thing that fungi have in common with some plants is that they have spores for reproduction. Reproduction means to reproduce the new generation. So while studying the fungi and plants, they saw that there is some commonality between the plants and fungi is that they have spores for reproduction. Spores are basically the unicellular cells, which means that they have single cell and without infusion with other cells they produce the new generations. So secondly, because they are unable to make their food, so fungi have to find their food. They do this by attach themselves to other living things and living off their cells. Some fungi, because they cannot make their own food, so to survive they have to get themselves attached to other objects. Sometimes they attach to animals, including humans as well. So, if you do not wash properly and find that your body comes itchy, it means it may be because of a fungus is growing on you. Some fungi attach themselves to plants. Mushrooms and toadstools are examples of fungi that do this. As you can see here in this picture, this is a trunk of a tree. Here you can see some objects. This is a mushroom. These are mushrooms that are attached to the trunk of the tree. Sometimes they are attached to the base of the tree at the ground level and they receive their nourishment from there. Next one is the bacteria. The other living thing after fungi is bacteria. Bacteria are everywhere, but you can't see them, which means that they are so tiny, so small that if you want to see them, you have to use microscope. Without microscope, you cannot see them. It means they are microscopic. Microscopic means they are so small that can only be seen through a microscope. Bacteria are the simplest form of living things. They only have one cell. In comparison, a human is made up of trillions of cells. Our body is designed in such a way that is made up of trillions of cells, and every cell, some cells work together to perform a certain function and some perform the other functions. So, what is the role of then bacteria? The role of bacteria is to act as decomposers. Whenever you heard the term decomposers, which means that there is something going the process of breaking down something, so they break down the chemical elements in the body. Here you can see the example, germs are bacteria. Whenever you are being instructed to not eat unhygienic food or the junk food from outside, which means that when you eat them, there are many germs that go inside your body and cause harm. So that actually the microorganisms are the bacteria. The last one is the protists. There are two main types of protists, protozoa and algae. Like bacteria, protozoa are microscopic single cell, which means that you can also not see protozoa without using microscope. But as compared to bacteria, as they live inside the body of living organism, the protozoa, they are the free bodies. They move from the body of one living object to the body of other living object. For example, when you eat the fish, so if there is a protozoa in the fish, it will also go inside your body and will cause the destruction. Sometimes these are the microorganisms that cause the contamination or inflammation of the liver. Then you will have malaria, typhoid fever, or many other diseases because of this microorganism. Here is an algae that is also a kind of a protist. So it's mostly in green color. Maybe you have seen a layer of algae or with a kind of patches on the surface of a lake. So it's really dangerous, and because the water that we are drinking or using for many other purposes, it's coming from the streams or the rivers and many other processes. So if it's coming from that source, that is dangerous for us as we are drinking water. so it's dangerous for the humans as well. Second thing is that, like mushrooms, algae attach themselves from the objects, and the concept to understand about the algae is that they have the ability to photosynthesize themselves, which means that they grab sunlight and able to make their own food. Some algae are microscopic, but some are much larger. Seaweed is an example of algae. Now come to the science workbook, page number 21, unit number 4, other living things. This is what we have studied a few minutes ago, fungi versus plants. It means that they are talking about the difference between the fungi and plants. Write down 3 differences between plants and fungi. As we have talked about, plants have stems, leaves, and roots, but fungi do not have stems, leaves, and roots. Some plants have flowers, but fungi do not have flowers. The last one, plants are able to make their own food, but fungi are not able to make their own food. All you have to do, students, is to fill this box and write the 3 main differences of plants and fungi on page number 21 of your science workbook. You can seek help from your book, page number 46, where there is a table drawn that is telling about the difference between a plants and a fungi. All you have to do is to go to your science book, page number 46. Here in the below there is a table drawn that is telling the difference between plants and fungi. Learn them and do write them in these boxes, and after that you have to learn it.